Now this is interesting. We have seen a new record price for HDB flat, $1.295 million. This is actually a purchase at this DBSS project, Natura Loft. This flat itself, 10 years old, above 35th floor, 120 square meters. So on PSF wise, it's about $1,000 really. Now $1.295 million, that's actually more expensive than the condo I'm staying right now. So 1.295 is really a big amount. My guess is it's some en-bloc private property owner looking for a big flat, high floor, live out retirement kind of thing. If not, new couples, they really cannot afford $1.295 million. In any case, DBSS projects, they have been discontinued already. It used to be like for sandwich income and it's transited to an EC format. So ECs right now are still also seeing a lot of favorable headwinds. But DBSS, all the units right now look to be transacting at really, really good prices. DBSS is actually a HDB flat, but it's designed by a private developer if I'm not wrong. And let me show you another new interesting finding. This number per square foot has really been cracked just a week ago at 15 August at more than 1,000 PSF already. So this Toa Payoh DBSS has clocked 1,009 per square foot. Now this is a psychological barrier, which means HDBs really should command more than 1,000, especially the premium end ones. So, if that flat, high floor one is really clocking that, who knows what the future is going to hold? Because 1,000 per square foot is cracked already. I guess moving forward, that should not be a barrier that anyone should be negotiating against. I think it's kind of expected already. Which means if you look in terms of how many million dollar HDBs have been transacted, in 2020, there were more than 100 of them. And there's actually some interesting findings. What categorizes one to be a $1 million HDB flat? Let me pull up some details of it. You realize that typically they are high floor. You realize that typically they are not too old. So these are some data points. And if we were to realize what are commonalities of it, you realize that the most common areas of $1 million HDB flats are in, firstly, central area, which includes Duxton. If you go to the Duxton Pinnacle right now, you see transactions more than $1 million. Very common over there because Duxton is a prime project right outside CBD, which means your tenant base would definitely include everybody that works inside that. And that is a really iconic building. So Duxton probably includes in the central region. Next, you'll see Bishan, where Natura Loft is clocked at. And last but not least, you'll see Queenstown, third on the list for $1 million HDB flats. Now, I stay fairly near Queenstown. And opposite Queenstown MRT now, you see a big plot of really freshly completed BTOs. I believe each and every one, high floor unit, over there will be $1 million. And that at least is another 1,000, 2,000 units that is really going to be in that $1 million space. So my prediction is 2030, we are going to see like very common, 1,000 units of $1 million HDB flats transacted. Maybe that's really fueling why even condo prices are surging right now. If you see latest news, Pasir Ris, this project has launched at 2,000 per square foot. I think it's crazy there, 2,000 per square foot. 2,000 per square foot, you can buy something in River Valley, older one of course. You can buy freehold. I'm very sure I can find numbers for you there. So I don't know who's transacting at 2,000 per square foot at Pasir Ris, which is clearly out of central region. The tenant base, maybe it's only in the Changi Business Park. Not too sure about it. On my own, my HDB flat, I bought it about 400 plus per square foot. That was back 10 years ago, kind of thing. That flat was pretty old already, 27, 28 years. But if you look right now, even the BTOs are already transacting 500-600 per square foot already. The new ones at Telok Blangah BTO, I shared a previous video on it. Telok Blangah BTO cracked the record, 700,000 for 4-room flat BTO. So if the person buying it is already clocking 500-600 or even 600-700 per square foot, you realize that when they sell, it's usually going to be double. 1,200 per square foot for that one when it matures 10 years time? I don't know. So the quick question I'd like to ask you is, what do you think is the max you pay for HDB flat? At least in quantum or at least in terms of per square foot, what is the max? Because the numbers are already getting crazy. And the whole idea of this is to have a discussion. Because I can pull up data for you to see. Queenstown, there's this condo, Queen's condo, slightly old, 20 years old. You realize that they're only fetching 1,003 per square foot. So the gap between the old condo and a premium HDB is really getting very close. It will lead to the next question, which is, will government actually step in to cool down HDB resale or not? They can do so in a few ways. Let me suggest also. First, they can always put more resale tax to it. They can raise MOP to it. They can cut back on use on CPF on it. They can require more down payments to it. We don't know what will happen, but these are some measures. If it comes in place, you realize that HDB flats were cool. And maybe that's the first domino effect. If HDB resale cools, private property where there's a lot of upgraders would start to cool. If HDB resale cools, you'll see that BTO would also cool. So I guess that's already understood by authorities wise. It's a matter of time whether it gets overheated or not. You realize that for the last 15 months, HDB resale price index has shot up in one direction, gaining close to 15% ever since the bottom in May 2020. So the second question is, do you think government will clamp down, or do you support government to clamp down on HDB resale prices? Leave them in the comment sections below. This is discussion podcast. I think over here, that's how we can learn from each other. And if you like this style, smash on subscribe and smash on like. I'll see you in a future video where I'll be covering more topics. I'll be covering some things I find out about cryptocurrency markets. I'll also be covering how to make monies on side hustles. Simple topics that really stir up discussions and stir up critical thinking. With that, I'll sign off. See you in the future podcast. Take care and goodbye.